Hi everyone, welcome to the third miniship history. This is an adaptation of my earlier talk at the Australian National Maritime History, celebrating the 150th anniversary of Holland America Line, as well as celebrating the publication of the epic 5-volume history of that shipping company. In my hands is the first volume. Volumes 1 and 2 are now published, and there is a link down below for those interested in a copy. The ship that I'll be talking about today is the 1914 Statendam. You may be familiar with this ship because it never entered service as such. Between 1908 and 1914, the fortunes of Holland America Line looked bright. Profits were up, and so they decided to invest big and have Harland and Wolff build a new national flagship for them, which would be the Statendam. This three-funnel giant at 32,000 tons would be almost the equivalent of the Lusitania and the Mauretania, which were around 34,000 tons. Unfortunately, world events would determine the fate of this beautiful ship. At the outbreak of the First World War, the hull was launched. The British government then took over the ship and had it completed as a troopship. Painted in drab grey, it was originally named Justicia so that the Cunard Line could manage this ship, but they did not have crew available, so management was passed on to the White Star Line, who, quite conveniently, had just lost their enormous Britannic, the slightly larger sister ship of the Titanic and Olympic. The Britannic was also the largest ocean liner lost in the First World War. So, with White Star personnel, the former Statendam, now renamed Justicia, was operated as a troopship. Originally painted drab grey, in 1918 it was repainted in a bold dazzle camouflage scheme. The idea was that dazzle camouflage would make it harder for submarine commanders to aim their torpedoes and sink ships. In the case of the Justicia, that did not work at all. On the 9th of July 1918, UB-64 managed to get one torpedo into the Justicia. It only damaged the ship, it did not sink it immediately. Later that evening, UB-64 tried again and managed to get another 2 torpedoes into the ship. Settling low, the Justicia would not sink, and so the UB-64 got away as fast as it could, but notified the surrounding submarines that there was a big fat juicy target just waiting to be sunk. So the following day, the submarine UB-164 had another shot, and after firing 2 torpedoes, they managed to strike their targets, and this doomed the Justicia. At this point, it had an escort of over 30 ships, and while all those escorts failed to save the Justicia, they did manage to sink the UB-164. Aside from the 15 men that were lost in the initial torpedo attack, everyone else managed to survive, and those crewmen could now claim to have survived the top 2 largest shipwrecks, or at least the top 2 largest ocean liners sunk in the First World War, with the first being Britannic, and now the Justicia / Statendam. Unfortunately, this ship never entered service with Holland America Line, but its beautiful wooden interiors were kept in storage and would be utilized in the next ship that we'll be talking about, the other Statendam. But for those of you who are interested in learning more about the life of this particular ship, there is a fantastic book by Dr. Thomas Balloch called The Dutch Titanic. This book is the absolute Bible for this Statendam. It has fantastic graphics, diagrams, and photos, drawings galore. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to come by, but if you do find a copy, by all means, get it. Also, you can find a chapter of the Statendam in this book Damned by Destiny, or in its updated volume, Ocean Liners That Never Were. I'll be reviewing those further down the track, don't you worry about that. So there you have it, the brief unfortunate life of the second Statendam. Please stay tuned because there are more mini ship histories coming your way.